Hey kids, it's a Mr. Fly here. Are you well? I do hope so. I'm feeling absolutely splendid today because I'm out and about on another bike that I've not ridden before. I'm out to do another one of my first impressions review, and today I'm on the Suzuki V Strom 250, the baby V Strom. So if you're interested to learn a little bit more about what this bike is all about, stick around and stay tuned. So you join me on a bit of a grey, dank day today in Buckinghamshire. A little bit of rain in the air. Not quite so nice as other days that I've been doing these bike reviews on, but today, as I mentioned, I'm on a brand new bike again. This is the Suzuki V Strom 250. This is the 2018 model year. The bike actually came out in 2017, and I don't think there have been any changes for the 2018 model year, so this is the same as the bike that's been around, well, for a couple of years now. I have ridden the big brothers of this bike, the V Strom 1000 and the V Strom 650, both of course V twins. This one though is a parallel twin. None the worse for it though. It sounds absolutely amazing as you wind her up. It sounds more like you'd expect a 4-cylinder bike to sound. And what I really like about the engine is its smoothness. I'm used to riding my CRF 250, which is obviously well, not obviously, but it is a single cylinder thumper. So there's plenty of vibration and thump when you wind that one up. This, however, is lovely and smooth when you wind her up. The Suzuki boffins have done some magic to the internals of the engine to make it, well, really quite smooth for a twin. There aren't that many 250 size adventure type bikes around, and Suzuki, I think, have done a good job on styling this. It does look very similar to its big brothers, the 650 and the 1000. At first glance, you would think it's a much bigger bike than it actually is. Right, now I'm on this bit of dual carriageway. It's a good chance just to see how well the bike goes. Now, is this vehicle going to let me get past? Come on, can we come past, please? So even though the bike is only a 250, as I say, easily holds 70 miles an hour on this bit of dual carriageway. If it wasn't for the vehicle in front that refuses to pull over, then I would I'd wind her up. But I've got plenty more on the throttle. I imagine she'll easily sit at 80, but that's about it. Although it's styled as an adventure bike, I think really it would be more practical as a sort of commuter machine, or maybe a first bike. I think if you put luggage on it and a pillion, you'd struggle to maintain highway speeds. Okay, so I'm tucked down now and flat out on the bike, and I'm maintaining 85 miles an hour. So she will do that, but you are thrashing the bike, as I say. I'm going to just slow down. At higher speeds, you realise actually that the windscreen isn't that effective. There's quite a lot of turbulence on the top of this, hitting me on the top of the head. When you tuck down, you can get clear of it, but you would be tucked down. It would hurt if you rode like that for a while. So I don't know if they're available yet, but I think an aftermarket screen might be something you'd want to consider on one of these. Lovely light bike though, so round the roundabout there, very easy to turn. You don't have to muscle the bike at all, and that I put down to its lightness. The handlebars themselves are actually quite narrow for an adventure style bike. One of the first things I noticed when I jumped on it was how narrow the handlebars are. But you quickly get used to it. As I say, it's not an issue as far as controlling the bike, because it is very light and easy to get around corners. Beautifully light clutch. Right, let's get off the dual carriageway and find some other types of road to give her a go on. Okay, I'm off the dual carriageway now onto a typical B road. It gives me a chance to go through some of the practical aspects of the bike then. So seating position, doesn't actually feel like your classic adventure bike feels. I thought it might feel exactly like, say, a Triumph Tiger 800 or maybe a GS, because it looks quite a big bike when you look at it, but when you're on it, you feel relatively tucked up actually. As I already mentioned, the handlebars are quite narrow, so that's a little bit different to what you expect from an adventure bike. And your legs as well are quite tucked up. My knees are at an acute angle. It feels a little bit more of a sporty ride than I anticipated. Not terribly so, you're still sitting properly upright. I suppose, if anything, it compares mostly to something like maybe one of the Triumph Bonnevilles. They have a very similar seating position, so it's very comfortable. The seat itself seems quite well padded. I'm wearing my riding jeans today, and I have noticed, talking about the seat, that you tend to slide around a bit on it, though. The surface of it is a little bit slippery. I guess that just depends on what sort of kit you wear. I think you'd be alright in leathers, but in textiles you do slide around a little bit on it. But there's plenty of room enough. I can move, you know, forward and back on it. I'm 5'8", and so a sort of medium-sized chap. And yeah, I'm finding the bike completely comfortable to sit on. Other practical points, things like these mirrors. I mean, they look like a couple of barn doors, don't they? They're absolutely massive. I'm not sure I like the styling of them, but they work really well indeed. I've got a great view behind on both sides. I'm not looking at my elbows or my shoulders. They've got a massive field of view. So again, if you're maybe new to biking, it just gives you great situational awareness. So they work a treat. They don't vibrate at all either, which is nice. And in fact, because of that smooth engine, there are no vibrations through the pegs or the grips that would get annoying after a while. Suspension on here pretty basic, but for the sort of riding you're going to be doing on here, adequate. It's I guess set on the soft side. You know, move up and down. It's quite bouncy. I imagine if you're the sort of rider that likes to really give it loads all the time, it could get a little out of shape on the corners. But for the sort of riding I do, which is sort of basic road riding, absolutely adequate. The ride quality is really nice. Now this is where bikes like the V Strom 250 come into their own, because it's nice and light, relatively narrow. It's perfect for weaving through traffic. You actually sit quite high up on the bike, so you get a good view over traffic. And again, together with those big mirrors, means you've got great sort of situational awareness. So an ideal commuter bike. Now this particular bike that I'm riding has done 752 miles at the moment, so it's only just sort of run in really, but I have to say the clutch is lovely and light. The gearbox seems to work really nicely, no issues there. A little bit clunky maybe, the gearbox, but no problem actually getting the gears, no missed neutrals and things like that, or false neutrals I should say. Brakes seem to work fine. Front brake's perfectly adequate. Rear brake, not so much, but no worse than any other smaller capacity bike that I've ridden. Nothing complicated about this bike. There's no riding modes or clever electronics. It's got ABS, which I would suggest is a great thing to have, particularly if you're a newer rider, but for any rider frankly. It doesn't have traction control or anything like that. One thing I really like about this bike is the LCD instrumentation here. They've done the white on black that I think just looks better than black on white. It looks a bit more classy, I think. And this particular instrumentation I've seen before on the, I think it was on the GSX R125, had the same instrumentation. I suspect other of the Suzuki bikes do. But what I like about it is it's got absolutely everything there you need. It's got a proper fuel gauge, which I like on the right there. It's got a gear position indicator. It's got RPM at the top, everything else you need, trip counters, clocks, etc. It's all there and nice and clear to read. I also like the way they've done the indicator light on this one. I'll put the indicator on here left, look, and you can see it's just in that top left corner, that great flashing light. I mean, I know it's a silly little thing, but I think it looks quite neat. So even though it is obviously built to a cost and is, in quotes for want of a better term, a budget bike, things like that look really nice. It certainly doesn't feel like a budget bike when you're riding it. I'll go through the costs when we do the walk around, but it's just over £4,000 this bike, so excellent value machine. It's also super frugal to run. It's got a pretty big tank on it, and Suzuki claim over 300 miles range out of a tank. As I mentioned before, I'm 5'8", and look, I can get my feet flat down either side of the bike, no problem at all. Seat height is nice and low, so again, completely non-intimidating. If maybe you are a newer rider and considering a bike, this is one definitely to think about. Or indeed, if you're a shorty. Let's give you a little wipe, I hope you can see okay. Standing up on the bike actually works a treat. They've got the foot pegs and everything, the balance just right, so standing up to stretch your legs is no issue. Which is one of the things I quite like about the adventure style bikes. If you are on a longer run, if you are checking out that 300-mile range, you can stretch your legs on them. Alright, so much for riding the bike. Let me find somewhere to park up. Let me show you the machine and talk you through the spec. Right, let's come in the pub car park here. A likely place to do a walk around. Alright, nice and easy to select neutral. Stand's got a big old leg on the side so you can't miss it. And it doesn't tip over too far, so again, just an easy bike it seems to live with. Okay, let's give you a little wipe again. Hopefully you can see all right. So here we go, the V Strom 250. This one of course in red. It also comes in various other colours, but I think in terms of the styling they've done a good job on making this look much like its bigger brothers, what with the beak etc on the machine. A couple of things about it I don't like styling wise. One is this headlight. I think there's just something about that I'm not quite sure I like the look of. I don't know if it's too big or whether it should have been, I don't know, maybe two square ones or something like that. Something about that I don't like. And then this tail tidy is just absolutely hideous. I mean, it also doubles up as a massive sort of mud guard, which I suppose is practical, but yeah, it looks horrible. The back end not the most beautiful, but overall, as I say, I think they've done a reasonable job on the styling of it. It does look like a proper adventure bike. Alright, so much for that. Let me get the other camera out, my phone, and we'll talk you through the spec. Okay, so here she is then, the 2018 model year V Strom 250. As I say, actually no changes from the original 2017 model that I'm aware of. The bike itself, engine-wise, has a 248cc parallel twin engine. Not a V-twin, even though it's called a V Strom, but there we go, there's the engine. Puts out 25 PS according to the website. Look that up, 24.7 bhp, that is, at 8,000 RPM. Torque-wise, 23.4 newton meters, or in the old bunny, 17.2 foot-pounds. So it's not going to break any speed or power records, but it is a usable amount of power that this has got for day-to-day riding, commuting, that sort of thing. You really don't need more than that, I don't think. Brakes-wise, it's got disc brakes all round. Don't actually know what size the disc brakes are on here, and they're just, it looks like they're Nissin calipers on here, 2-pot on the front. Pedal though, they look quite good, and you can see the ABS ring on the front as well. Disc on the back as well. Suspension, very basic, just adjustable for preload on the back, nothing else, as you might expect. Seat height, 790mm, so relatively low, and nice and narrow at the front as well. As I mentioned before, I can get my feet down dead easily on this, and I'm 5'8" with a 32-inch inseam. Weight of the bike, 188 kilograms wet, so very light for an adventure style bike, and just a light bike generally, so again makes it very easy to handle. Tank capacity on here, already mentioned, it's got a pretty huge tank actually for a small bike. 17.3 litres, that's 3.8 UK gallons, and Suzuki reckon you'll get 88.28 miles per gallon out of it. So I did a bit of calculating, 335 miles, that means you could theoretically get out the tank, but certainly 300 miles should be possible. Electronics wise, as I say, pretty basic bike, but it has got Bosch ABS, and it has got that nice LCD screen, and that's about it. Basically, it does have actually, while I'm thinking about it, an accessory socket just here, a 12-volt accessory socket, so you can plug in your phone or your sat nav if you want to, which is quite a handy addition. Price on the road, $4,599, again according to the Suzuki website. There are some optional extras you can have. It's got side cases, top box you can buy, knuckle guards. You can buy something called the GT accessory pack that gives you the cases together with a centre stand and some other bits and bobs. That's an extra £999. And there are other accessories you can buy on the website. You can get it in this red colour, black, or it comes in that yellow that the V Stroms come in, that I think actually looks pretty good. So there we go. That's pretty much it for the spec of the bike. Yeah. Like it very much in terms of how she looks. Alright, that's enough of that. Let's jump back on then. Alright, let's just see what she's like to manhandle around. Nice and easy to get off the stand. And yeah, no issue again. Pretty practical machine to live with, I would have thought, from all points of view. Quick U-ey here. Turning circle, nice and tight. So to summarise then, what are my initial thoughts after riding the bike just for an hour or so? Well, I've been actually quite impressed. I didn't have high expectations. I thought it was going to feel underpowered, but actually it doesn't feel underpowered at all. The engine feels nice and sweet, really smooth. Great mirrors, nice riding position, nice and light handling. Yep, it's not going to break any speed or power records, but it goes absolutely fine for real world riding, commuting, that sort of thing, or learning your craft. Practically everything works nicely. The only downsides really that I can find are the screen's not that great at high speed. There's a bit of buffeting off that. Other than that, no real downsides that I've spotted so far, other than maybe some styling issues. Maybe the front light could be a bit smaller, things like that. That's a matter of personal choice. Anyway, really pleased to say this is my next long-term loaner from Suzuki, so thank you very much to Suzuki UK for lending me the bike for a few weeks. So if you are interested in the Suzuki V Strom 250, stick around and stay tuned. There's going to be more videos coming along soon. Okay, I hope that's been of some interest to you, and I look forward to speaking to you in the near future. Until then, this has been the Mr. and Flyer. Cheerio.